Hello, happy Wednesday. You are on the Heart of Success show, and I'm your host, Larissa Vakulina. I go live every Wednesday at 2 p.m. South Australian time. And here I speak about success. Right now, I'm observing how success is redefining. So we start to really look at some other values in our lives that are not traditionally been considered as a success, because we always think that success is more about attaining some wealth and authority or roles. Well, here I'm sharing with you success, which is a bit more deeper and a bit more meaningful definition of it. Success in our health, in our relationships, in our creation, in creating something amazing in our lives. So how can we be successful in our many areas of our lives? So today I'm going to talk about overwhelm. So there's so much going on right now that creates so much overwhelm. So being overwhelmed is a state of intense emotion that is so difficult to manage. It affects our ability to think and act rationally, and it could prevent our performance of our daily tasks. So overwhelming feeling come from stress, traumatic event in our life, some relationship issues, some other experiences in our life, but mostly, of course, it comes from the never-ending list of to-do things, right? We have this enormous list, never-ending workload of things that we need to do in our lives. So this is something that is creating this intense feeling of being out of control. So the overwhelm. And right now we all dealing with and torn apart between the dealing with pandemic, working from home, juggling with our relationships, and also right now the overwhelm become a prolonged state of the intense emotion rather than momentarily annoyance, as we always thought that the overwhelm is something that is come and go. But right now I'm observing among my clients and among all these other people and friends that overwhelming feeling is really become a almost a non-stop emotional intensive state where people are feeling anxious and out of balance. Hello people, thank you for coming. Please give permission to StreamYard to show your name. I can see MJ here, thank you, and someone else here. Thank you for being here and joining me to be here in this important discussion. So dealing with overwhelming feelings on daily basis is really not sustainable. And if we just push ourselves through the day, it only creates a much more serious condition that called burnout. And this is much more serious state to be in, rather than dealing and knowing how we can actually support ourselves through the overwhelming feeling. So I remember being overwhelmed when I was running my international export business. And my response to never-ending workload and never-ending things to do was to increase my doing and to actually work harder and work longer hours. So this is really what I'm observing is a response of many people that are feeling overwhelmed, that we're thinking that if we do longer hours, if we work harder, then we can catch up with all our many tasks that we set up for ourselves. So I also remember that I was also having this very dangerous feelings of and a belief within myself that I'm not good enough if I'm not gonna to finish this project, or if I'm not controlling all the steps that needs to be implemented in such in a certain particular project, then the project will fail. I also have these assumptions about myself that if I'm not participating in a particular task and in a particular project fully and having control of it, the project will fail, or something is not going to be completed, or something like that. So this is really is a main reason. And then these beliefs and these untruthful assumptions quite dangerous, because they lead into much more dangerous vicious cycle of doubting our capabilities. So it seems like when we are constantly running after this to-do lists, we basically creating also the feeling within ourselves that we start to doubt our capabilities. So our capability has nothing to do with overwhelming. Rather, this stems from our resistance or ignorance to recognize that we have inner triggers and we have the reactions for things that actually we experience in every day. And this is overcomplicating and adding complexity in our life. So this is really is an important point, because that's what mostly coming and stemming from that very, very limited perception of how we kind of stop believing in ourselves and we start to doubting our capabilities. So these two needs to be separated, because overwhelming has nothing to do with that. Overwhelming is having to do with overcommitment and scattering your focus for the tasks that probably not really in priority in your life, right? So that's what really is happening with us. And this dangerous tendency is kind of growing, and it grows that doubting feelings within ourselves, and it is having like a vicious cycles of this process. The more we try to catch up with our to-do list, the more we work harder and longer hours, the more we put in ourselves into these feelings of overwhelm. And we need to start to step back and have the introspection and more perspective of what we really need to do and what our priorities are. So there are steps and processes to help us to deal with, I just need to get my notes here, and basically we need to have these steps and processes to help us and equip us to deal in the moment with overwhelming feelings, and how we can actually start to recognize these triggers, to recognize the reactions that we have. And also, I would like to share with you maybe a few of the steps that I'm now creating a workshop to present to anyone who would like to go a little bit deeper and analyze all the steps and processes that involve to help you to deal with overwhelming. So the first one, I think that's really important, because when we not asking ourselves, and when we ignoring and resisting the recognition that there's a lot of inner triggers and a lot of inner emotional reactions towards a little things that is full in our daily activities, and also disruptions and interruptions in what we've been planning. So this is really takes our energy out and focus out to look at the meaningful work. So basically, like I was when I was dealing with my export business, I I learned a very hard lesson. From overwhelmed, I allowed myself to go into the burnout. From burnout, I allowed myself to go into the depression. From depression, I allowed myself to go into the panic attacks, and then more and more. And I end up to having breast cancer, and I basically cut myself off completely from doing any work. So right now I'm passionate, and I'm really would like to help people to deal with that first signs, with the first feelings of overwhelming, not allowing to go through all the other steps that are very, very dangerous. So the second point is that it is so important to set up your boundaries, to set your priorities and protect your meaningful working time. This is so important, because when we allow ourselves to be interrupted, or when we are kind of thinking, oh, you know what, I just a little meeting, 5 and 10 minutes, I'm going to get back. But really, if you're thinking that the meeting or whatever the interruption gonna to take you only a few minutes, it end up to be a 30 minutes, because your focus is already out of that meaningful work flow, which you've been deeply involved. And then you go and then you need to have another 20 minutes to get back that focus into your task that been already off center, right? And also learning to say no is so important, because a lot of, especially in the arena of being employee, and there's bosses, there's a lot of meetings, and there's many bosses and managers that tend to ask and put little tasks on everyone. And if you focusing on your main project, well, then you need to really know how to say no with not offending anyone and be rude or unpolite. There's a way to say no in a very respectful way, and show your colleagues and your managers how they can help you to focus on the priority project or priority work. So this is very important. And a third point I would like to stress today is that perfectionism is something that creates overwhelm. When we are attached to the perfectionism, we attach this state to smallest tasks we do, and this takes so much energy, and we never ever can get to do and complete our tasks and our projects, because we always would like to have that perfection. I'm just inviting you to drop the perfectionism and also be able to ask for help, your colleagues or your friends or whoever, in what situation you are overwhelmed. You need to learn how to ask for help. And also the feedback when you go through your process, like look at yourself at 30% of your completion of your task. Where are you at? Check up with yourself, tune in with yourself to ask yourself a question. Is this something that is very, very high priority for me right now? Or I am just kind of diverting from the most prioritized tasks to something that is not really a priority at that moment. So I really would like to stress on the importance of recognizing that you are in overwhelmed feelings, and really not allow yourself to go and dig much more deeper state of the burnout, because it's so much harder to get yourself out of there than from overwhelming feeling. I was there myself, and I learned the hardest lesson there is, to actually get myself out of that state and become balanced, become happy, successful. So basically, I'm putting together a workshop for everyone who are interested to learn in 1 hour very, very powerful tools and tips and techniques, how you can use them on everyday basis, on the in the moment where you feel overwhelmed. So this is a process that you can take yourself through, and this is also evaluation tools that I'm going to provide some insights in terms of your untruthful assumptions, and also in terms of your limited beliefs about your enoughness and your genius, right? So I would like to finalize with this. Also, I'm having this other a few points that the self-care when you're overwhelmed is so important, because really the fundamental element of productivity, focus, and time management is your happiness and your health. How do we get happy and healthy? We have the time for self-care. So this is all going to be covered in more detailed and a deeper way in my upcoming workshop, where I would like to take you through a number of steps how you can help yourself to deal with overwhelming feelings in your personal life or at work, and basically equip yourself to start to create balance and attract peace and create that inner resilient state where you know where good is good enough, where you know that the more the more you work, it's not necessarily the better or more quality outcome. So this is something that would be quite good for very busy business owners or anyone who is feeling overwhelmed. I would like to jump on the comments here, because I can see you commenting here, guys. So yes, how MJ saying, is anxiety a byproduct of control? Well, anxiety is a byproduct of us having, number one, the erroneous belief about ourselves that we have to be perfect. We have to do things in a perfect way. And also the fear of asking for help. So we basically have the perception of ourselves that we would like to have that idealized self-image and self presence that we always need to hold up. So the anxiety comes from that, and of course the control. So Vicky is here. Thank you so much. Yes, overwork and drive can become unhealthy when we overdo it. Absolutely, because sometimes we just overrunning through all of these very little small tasks, and we become overwhelmed rather than have the healthy sense of priority and divide bigger and much more meaningful workload into the smaller tasks and concentrate on that completion of the smaller tasks. We also need to schedule in a little breaks between the major involvement. It's not like interruptions with something or somebody. It's a different planning tool that can help you to keep your focus, but it can also support you from inside out to become a bit more grounded and a bit more focused on a particular task. So what else here? Burnout is very dangerous. Yes, I know. I've been there. It is such a place where you questioning your existence, basically, because it's not only the place where you don't have energy and you don't really have ability to work or do anything. You also questioning your existence. Why I'm here? Because you live in a darkness. So this is how I experienced the burnout, where I didn't really even know what to do with that and why I'm feeling that way, because I thought that it's only me that feeling that way, because all this bright and light and joyful world was around me, but I felt so unwell in and burnout, with no energy, with no motivation, with no inspiration. So that's the state where it is much more difficult. So if you feel overwhelmed, it is the time to take that first step, to really assist you in starting to know more about why you feeling that way. And there's a lot of inner answers that can be put when we have the exploration of these issues. So the self-care is absolutely must. And we always, many times, we're thinking that taking care of ourselves is something that, we always put that at the back of our list. We put others first, and we caretaking a lot of people and our businesses and everyone around us, but we forget about us, ourselves. So we are so afraid to say no. I know it's just that that only one point of how we can say no is such an important learning and developmental point, where only that can, if you learn that, can really eliminate and elevate 50 or 80% of your overwhelming feeling. Because if you constantly saying yes to everyone, doesn't matter, colleagues, friends, or whoever is asking you to help or do, if you always say yes, you basically taking this, like no is a decision. Yes is a responsibility. So that's how it plays. And when you saying yes, you taking responsibility, and that's what really creates your overwhelm. Because maybe when you saying yes, you don't really evaluate your time frame and your abilities to do that. So happiness and yes. So Vicky is saying if they work with you, they can avoid burnout before it even happens. That's it. That's why I created, and I'm putting it out there, the workshop on from overwhelm to balance, so that people can actually start to become aware of where they're at right now and prevent themselves going into much more serious problems. So that's really is my passion, and that's really is my desire to show you that don't do the mistakes that I did. So that's really is all for today, and I really wish you all the best, and I will come back. So MJ saying this will be a very useful workshop. Yeah, I believe so, because I only just put a surfaced points on today's show that just give you a little bit of insights of what I'm creating. And in a workshop, we're going to have a bit more and a bit more deeper diving into these points. So I'll come back next Wednesday at 2 p.m. And until then, I really would like you to stay well, stay safe, love yourself more, and I see you soon. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here with me. And I'm saying bye for today. Thank you. Let's listen some music.